Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to the ConvertMissions podcast, where we talk about all Hasbro, Takara, and third-party Transformers! On this episode of ConvertMissions, we are joined by Epyk as we go over all the Hasbro Fan Fest Convertformers announcements. Today is Wednesday, April 14th, 2021, and this is episode 429 of ConvertMissions.
Welcome to Transmissions, the podcast that's always responded to voice commands. Why do you think we set up that voicemail for the show? I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. The extraordinary Epyk.
Hello.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hey, how's it going? Let's talk Transformers.
All right. And you may have noticed we're down one more than usual because we're always down to Yoshi, sadly, but this week we're also down Jeremy. So, but it's for a good cause, for a good reason. So Jeremy is now
he's got COVID.
No, the opposite. He's got COVID vaccine, which is much better, but it knocked him out. So. We lost him for this week, but he'll be back next week. Better than ever.
We hope.
Yeah. Vaccines are safe. They're real. They are. They're safe. Don't worry.
He talked to me afterwards and all I could hear was bleep, bloop, bleep. And I was like, what are you talking about, Jeremy? What is this? Who are you, Bill Gates?
Oh, maybe his microchip is malfunctioning. Mine was fine. I mean, I've got, augmented reality and I doubled my intelligence and,
what? 4 doctorates now?
Yeah. No, but no, it's a vaccine. It's not a microchip.
If you say
I
so.
hope everyone knows that. All right. As always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatrions, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you guys for continuing to support the show. We really appreciate it. And you guys help us keep everything going. Also, this week we had episode 47 of Empire of Rust, our Transformers live play RPG podcast. This episode was entitled Operation Tea Time. It came out this Monday, so it should already be in your feed if you are subscribed to the main Transmissions feed. If not, you can get access to it at transmissionspodcast.com/rust, where you can get all the episodes of Empire of Rust from the beginning. They're closing in on episode 50, so just a couple more weeks. Or no, I guess I say a month or two for episode 50 because it's every 2 weeks, so about a month and a half, and we'll get to episode 50. We're closing in, and they're also closing in on 2 years of Empire of Rust, so lots of big milestones. All right, now let's jump right in. There's lots of big toy news this week.
All right. So this past week on the 9th, we had the Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest. First annual. See how that
Say that 10 times
goes over. So it was, I had a chance to watch it. It was pretty slow at work. So I watched the Transformers segment, which was second after Fortnite. And I watched the Fortnite stuff too, because my daughter's into the game and I kind of watched to see. And I was pretty impressed with some of the Fortnite stuff too. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about the Transformers stuff. And for all intents and purposes, I was pretty happy with the presentation. Everything's social distanced and, we've gotten used to this whole Zoom aspect. Everyone's on, Zoom calls or Skype calls or whatever the hell they want to call them. And everyone's, on video calls. And so I'm not really giving anybody any crap for that because it's an issue. if you're seeing professional talk shows like the Tonight Show have issues with it, I am not expecting Hasbro and their normal, everyday designers and whatnot have professional stuff set up. So, if the professional actors and actresses can't get it right, I don't expect Hasbro and their design team to get it right. That being said, I was really happy with the way that this kind of went out. They had a really kind of flamboyant and spunky host, and it really made it kind of fun, especially if you had kids at home that were kind of watching this thing. Let's be honest, there's not a lot of kids at home that were probably watching this and really cared, but it was cool. She was very, poppy. She had a lot of energy, and it was hard to do it that early in the morning. So I don't remember her name. You remember her name, Charles?
No. Sorry.
All right. Great. Kudos to whoever her name was, because she did a good job. And a lot of people, we had a Discord channel chat going, and people were saying, "Oh, she's looking at the wrong camera," and there's little critiques here and there, and I'm like, this was live. Like, she was probably the only person that was live during this entire event. And
Jackie Jennings, that's her name.
There
Jackie
you go.
Jennings.
So many alliterations.
There you go. So I give her a lot of props. So she did a good job. So the Transformer stuff started off, and they had a lot of stuff to get through, and you could tell because we had Rachel, who we've seen before, and she reveals that she's pregnant. A lot of COVID babies happening right now. So there you go. Congratulations to Rachel from Transmissions. I'm sure you're not listening, but whatever. Congratulations.
I'm sure she's had the baby by now, because she was like 38 weeks pregnant.
That's true. Or she's very uncomfortable. And then we had what do we call him? He was Stoner Jimmy Fallon, I think. Is that what he was? Mark is his name. So, and he's from design. He's part of the design team, but I guess he had a really weird kind of mustache going on the last time, but he's turned his mustache into a full beard this time, so he doesn't get made fun of for his mustache. Anyway, he's kind of stole the show from Rachel, because he just kept having these weird little kind of tangents he'd go off on, and they were kind of fun. But you could definitely tell that Rachel, being from marketing, right off the top, she was disappointed with the leaks. And one of the, she made even just a little side comment about the fact that these things had already been leaked out. And after we go through the amount of stuff we're going to talk about here that came out, you can definitely see that, got good 3/4 of it already got leaked out, and we knew that it was coming.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but she should also talk to whoever's in charge of Hasbro's communications. If she's from marketing, I assume she was involved in the decision to give the major announcements to IGN 2 days before FanFest. You leaked your own stuff.
I guess. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But it definitely took some of the thunder. Maybe she's more leaning towards the fact that the Ark and stuff like that got leaked, in those really grainy, crappy photos. And then, some of the other stuff came out.
Well, again, Hasbro marketing released that giant art, that art piece of all the characters for Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, kind of hard to not blow your wad when you've got a poster with all the most likely characters on it.
And you can see the Ark's legs, right there. and everyone was like, hey, that's the Ark transformed into robot mode.
You can kind of understand, because if this is her big thing, what if it was a decision she didn't get to be a part of and she just wanted everyone to be surprised?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that. A lot of decisions. Hasbro's a big company, and the especially even the Transformers section of it is an enormous section of Hasbro. She may not have even been privy to that decision, like you just said,
right.
and it just got kind of lost in there. And they said, okay, well, you're going to be on this thing on the April the 9th. Okay, I'm going to write this in my calendar, and you're going to get to announce blah, 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 and here's all this stuff, and you're going to do all that. And she's like, okay, I'm going to plan it, and she starts working on it, and then like a few weeks before or a month before, it's boom, and it's like, well, I was going to talk about that. And
yeah, it really steals one's thunder.
Yeah, exactly. All of her kind of big show and stuff was going to be taken away. And they're like, okay, well, now we're gonna pair you up with Stoner Jimmy Fallon, and be like, fuck, I hate that guy. They probably are really good friends. I'm just kind of kidding, but yeah. So yeah, but anyway, it was interesting to kind of see that, because she definitely showed a little bit of her own kind of self, that there was a little bit of frustration with the leaks on their end. Besides that, we did actually see some figures, which was very cool. And they started it off with the Titan class Arc. And this thing we did get pictures of, really nice pictures of. It's coming with Teletran 1. It's going to have a Deluxe-Class figure. I guess I'm just trying to read here which part transforms into which, because part of the Arc is going to transform into Mainframe. And this is an old Action Master from back in the G1 days, colored completely differently now, because he's got to be part of the Arc's coloring. And yeah, he's going to turn into part of the Arc. And there's a bunch of little Easter eggs in the Arc. Charles, did you take notice of some of those Easter eggs?
I didn't see everything. I did see the the hull, and how very much like the G1 cartoon it looks in ship mode, I guess. But I think I missed some of those Easter eggs. At least I wasn't paying close attention, other than the little tiny Optimus Prime that's coming with them.
Right. So there is the tiny Optimus Prime. It appears to be the same Optimus Prime that came in that Centurion drone pack that they sent out. Only this one's now painted. So that's kind of cool. It's about the same size as the Radomus and the Galvatron that came with Unicron.
So are they sending out the little Optimus because that's the scale it's supposed to be to go with it? Because kind of wish this Arc was big. Like,
well, it's pretty damn big already.
Yeah, but let's have it. Let's try to get it to scale.
Sure. You want it as big as your house.
I mean, I'm just saying we got a massive Unicron, right? So let's go ahead. Let's beef up this Arc some. Also, I don't know how I feel about it transforming. I haven't decided yet.
Right. Yes. And that is definitely a point of contention for some people, because it's never done that before. Unless, of course, you kind of consider Omega Supreme. I think it's Omega Supreme or Supreme in animated.
Omega Supreme, and Transformers Animated it was Omega Supreme. Yep. Yeah.
So Omega Supreme in animated, he did transform. He was not the Arc, but he was the Autobot shuttle in that show.
We talked about this where it was like, well, why are we annoyed he transforms? It's like, well, he's a ship. And it's like, well, Omega Supreme, how all these guys are ships and stuff. So that's not a true argument and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, it's neat, but I do think it just comes down to, like, since he's never done it before, it just seems like, why are we doing that? But also, it's a cool another robot to have. So I'm not, like, totally mad about it. I just haven't decided yet.
Some of the other Easter eggs that the Arc does come with are 2 golden discs. So this will be fitting in with the whole kingdom aspect of the line. So you do get some actual golden discs with the figure, and the part of Mainframe's transformation in his component piece for the Arc is that he is part of the bridge of the ship. So you can see it's quite small, but when you do look at him in his his component mode, he is you do see the bridge of the Arc on there. So that's going to do it with that one. We have known about the Arc coming for a while. It appears that Teletran 1 is the name they're going with. We don't know if the robot has a different name. I think it's just going to be Teletran 1. There is a Sky Spy. We did see that. and a very cool mechanism for like a ramp and stuff like that for loading and unloading. It's a good looking, like a very fun playset. So that's kind of neat.
I thought the mainframe figure was the Teletran one. Like he turns into the little computer console. Isn't that what that figure is?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm a little confused as to what. Like I think he turns into the computer console, but I also believe he's part of the actual toy itself, like the Arc as well.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I think that little figure is the Teletran 1 figure, and then the big figure is just the Arc.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So Jeremy is half right. Jeremy gets half credit.
I'm sure he'll make an argument for the rest of that credit. So moving on, we did get some nice pictures and some a little closer pictures of their Commander class Radomus Prime. This one here is one that we were talking about before. The fact that he is coming with some new blast effects, the Sword of Primus, lots of really cool, stuff. His I guess gun turret does come off and will stick back onto his trailer when it's like in trailer mode. So you can have like this trailer, like a huge cannon on the back of the trailer. It looks pretty awesome. I think it looks pretty neat. It's a hot rod with a trailer. I mean, they
with a aged face.
Yes, exactly. So it looks pretty good. It's one of those things like if you're looking for a new Radomus Prime, this one might be the better of the most recent couple that you've been able to get, but it's going to be a spicy meatball. It's going to be a pricey one to get. Epyk, what are your thoughts on the Commander class Radomus Prime?
I think he's really neat and stuff. He was like $80 or gonna be, isn't it, or something like that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. It's really cool. The problem with this line is that they've just got me just wanting everything. Just because I'm a completionist, but also I love everything they keep putting out. So this guy's really cool. I do like his old man face because I think it shows his wisdom being Primus and stuff. So yeah, I really like this guy. But man, $80 though. I don't know about that.
It's like $125 here for me.
Yeah.
So shut up.
I mean, it's the same price as Skylynx and Jetfire, which I think are much bigger figures. So I'm wondering, those
are like massive figures that I feel like take my money. But this one, I don't know. I'll probably end up getting it because I'm a sucker and I can't stop myself, but I won't be happy about it.
You'll be cursing the cashier as you cash out. You're like, damn it, you for taking my money for this. I want this, but I'm mad at you.
I'll have to wait till it's available at Target so I can get 5% off my red card.
Well, that way you feel like you've won a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little winning.
Yeah. Well, next up on the list of reveals is something else we've known about, and that was for Kingdom Leader Galvatron. And yes, this one also looks really good, and this is probably so far one of the ones I'm most excited about because it does look so damn good. It's the blasters on it can be combined like we've seen before. The gun turret mode just looks fantastic. Everything on it just looks really great. So I don't know, Epyk, again, we haven't talked to you about this one either. So what are your thoughts on Galvatron? Do you have an affinity for him? Does this one look like it needs to be in your collection? It's a leader figure. You're going to be up there in cash again on it. So, Commander class Radomus, leader class Galvatron, Titan class Arc, you're going to be into like almost $400 worth of stuff here at some point.
I know. I'm going to go into debt. First of all, movie Galvatron, awesome. Cartoon G1 Galvatron, I cannot stand. Okay? I cannot stand him. Is the worst character Oh my goodness. But he is sweet in the movie.
No, we picked the right episode to review on alt mode this week.
I know. I'm sitting through the episode. Like, I remember getting to this episode the first time I watched through, and I thought all of my woes were going to be fixed. But nope. No, they were not. So yeah, I do think this figure is really sweet. I'm going to, forget about the cartoon series. And yeah, I really like it. And I'll just be throwing Hasbro my money for this figure too. They just did such a good job with these lines.
I gotta say, I gotta agree with you. I think they've really done a lot of good stuff with the last few lines as well. The next one here, I'm probably going to talk.
Wait. Did we mention the Matrix chain around his neck? That to me is the
is that the make or break for you there? Is that this Matrix chain, which is not much of a chain? It's more just a piece of plastic. It looks like a chain, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Why couldn't they put in the effort to
Galvatron
make
is a
it
piece of plastic that looks like a robot.
Semantics. Come on. How many matrices do you need to have, Charles?
No, I mean, I just think it's it's a cherry on top. It's not the make or break. It's a really nice Galvatron, but having the little matrix on a chain is just a nice little cherry on top for this Galvatron. I still am not a fan of the weathering, damage effects on this and the arc. The arc also has that weathering thing. I mean,
just give us some pristine, all around?
Yeah, I don't like it at all for any of the War for Cybertron figures. I'm not a fan of any of the weathering effects. Just give me nice clean paint apps. I don't. I mean, it's a little like you said, Epyk. I really don't like this, but these figures are so nice. I still am buying them. So yeah, it's like I don't like this weathering effect, but the figure is so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with the chain thing. I prefer it to be. It doesn't have to be a real metal chain, but I'd like it to be, lucid, kind of mobile, like a real chain. But
it looks like it
metal.
Stays in like the pattern it would go around his chest, right? It's like stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very static.
It's molded plastic. It's not set individual separate links.
Yeah. That'd be another $50, Daryl.
Probably. Yeah. So the next one here, I'm probably gonna, pass over to Charles because I don't know anything about this guy. This is Deluxe-Class Scorpenoc, and this is a Beast Wars character. This one was, they said, was designed in collaboration with Takara Tomy, and it can swap the double-headed missiles and the Cyber Bee. What does that mean, Charles?
Well, the Cyber Bee is a little drone he had. I believe he had it in the show too, as like, a little drone he would send out. But I mean, Scorpenoc was, as a character, I mean, he's not the most memorable of the Beast Wars characters, especially because he was.
No,
but he was
spoilers.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm still working through season 1.
I'm very okay. I'm gonna hang my head in shame now. I should not. I
would have celebrated if you told me it was Rat Trap.
Well, you just earned a lot of enemies there. He's a fan favorite.
But Scorpenoc is he's just kind of the dumb loyal Predacon. He's extremely loyal to Megatron, Beast Wars Megatron.
He also can't do anything. He's got pinchers for hands and he's just useless.
Yeah, I mean he's a bit of a dumb thug. He doesn't really have much of a characterization in the show. He's just there to be loyal to Megatron and go into battle, and that's it. He's not my favorite Beast Wars character. I wonder if he's anyone's favorite Beast Wars character, but he is the fact that they are doing this Beast Wars Scorpenoc in this line when they just did G1 Scorpenoc in the last line. I mean, I'm surprised they're doing this given how, usually these big corporations don't like brand confusion. And, 2 figures named Scorpenoc seems like that, that might be an issue, but they're like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess this is Predacon Scorpenoc rather than just Scorpenoc. So hopefully that will be enough to not confuse all the grandmothers who buy their kids birthday presents. and no, I mean, I imagine the kid who asked for the giant G1 Scorpenoc City, the Titan class Scorpenoc, and they get this Scorpenoc might be a little disappointed. But there is a difference of about, like $130 between these two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can get this one. It is going to, I believe went up for pre-order with the rest of this stuff. And that's very cool that, something like this, the original Beast Wars Scorpenoc toy was not a great figure, often broke, or if you do find it's missing a bunch of pieces. So, a new updated version, I'm always up for that. Although I'm not a huge fan of these Beast Wars figures, so it's one of those ones probably I can skip. I can also probably skip the next one for myself, and that's this new Deluxe-Class Wing Finger. This is another one of those fossilizers, and it's a Maximal Ninja it's a skeleton swoop. It looks like Swoop, and it's a skeleton.
This should just be $2. There's so little to it. I'll only accept $2 to $5 for it.
It's deluxe class, so it's bigger, right? But
in the chat when we were live watching, like, I guess, does it count as live blogging in Discord? We were live discussing this, and someone said this was Dead Swoop.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh yeah, okay, there you go. Good job, Gerald. Good joke.
So the one thing that they did reveal though during the live stream is that if you've bought the other fossilizers, so the whatever the heck their names are, I don't remember. But there's only 2 more. So if you bought the other 2,
is it Ractonite and Paleotrex?
Yes,
those ones.
That's right.
Yeah, if you've got those 2, you can combine all 3 into a combiner.
Oh man, now I have to get this dorky little dude.
Yeah, so it actually will combine into some crazy, bone robot thing, and
I assume this guy forms the finger.
he forms the head, actually, I think. So yeah, he's very necessary. But it actually looked very cool. I kind of, for a split second, wanted it, and then I remembered that it was a ridiculous thing and that I could skip it easily.
You remembered that you decided to have a kid instead.
That's right. But the fact that they do combine, and that I can almost, I can guarantee that somebody will buy 3 sets of these and make something absolutely amazing. It's just what this fandom does, and I can't wait to see it. Because the people were making, big combiners out of the 6-gun and all the other kind of the guys who kind of broke up there. So yeah, I can't wait to see the monstrosities that people come up with out of these fossilizers. All right. There's the next thing that they showed off is that there's going to be a Tricranius Beast Power Fire Blast collection. And that's one hell of a name, but it's going to come with a recolor of the fossilizer Ractonite, and it's going to have a whole whack of, they're kind of like a red and a blue blast effect. So you get 19 of them, and it's basically a blast effects pack. And a lot of people have been looking for ways to get new blast effects, and here's another way to get a whole bunch of them all at once, plus a crazy looking fossilizer too. So yeah, that's actually kind of neat. So if you're into those fossilizers and you want a way to get a whole bunch more blast effects, there's another way to do that.
I don't know why they aren't just selling blast effects in packs on their own yet.
I don't know.
They would make so much off that instead of having to have people buy a bunch of hot glue to make their own.
Yeah. People are making a lot of their own. Yes, that's true. Now the last one that they mentioned in the open wave that's coming out sooner rather than later, and this is one that I'm really excited about, is Deluxe-Class Tracks.
Yeah.
And it's another G1 figure that's coming out, and I am just elated that there is another little Tracks figure coming. It's been a while since there's been a new Tracks, and I just love it. He looks like Tracks. It's great. Although the one thing I got to say about it that is a little different is that he doesn't exactly look like a Corvette anymore. The original Tracks was a Corvette. It doesn't look like a Corvette anymore. It's a sports car. That's, still cool, but there's definitely some bits there that don't look like a Corvette. They've done okay with the front, but the back is not there. And the flame on the front is changed. I don't know why, but they were showing it off during the stream, and the flame bugged me, the fact that it was different now. So anyway, I'm still really excited about it. I think it looks great. It's got all the same modes that you'd want a Tracks to have. Flying car, great robot, great car mode, all kinds of stuff. Just looks great. So yeah, I will definitely be getting this myself. Charles, what do you think of Tracks?
He looks good. It's a good looking figure. And yeah, flying car mode is definitely a plus for Tracks. I mean, of course, the Tracks he's always had that since the beginning. So it's nice to see that preserved. I do. I mean, I think this is probably the same in the G1 Tracks, but just having the arms out there hanging out, like, that looks a little bit weird, but I think that's probably the same in G1 Tracks too.
It is the same in the G1, although the G1 figure, they're closer to the body. They're right up against the body.
Yeah. So it looks a little bit better.
Yeah.
But but I can overlook that. It's still a really nice looking Tracks. And I'm sure it's much better articulated than G1 Tracks.
Well, I assume so. Yeah. All right. So moving on, they mentioned that the next stuff coming out is going to be in Wave 3. So that's cool. I guess we're going to be guaranteed a Wave 3, so that's good. The first one they talked about was Voyager Rhinox, and that'll be a nice core figure for the Beast Wars cast. I believe Rhinox was in almost every single episode of Beast Wars. So that's pretty good until he
dies,
became something else.
Yeah, until Megatron cut his head off, and sorry,
and
no,
then
that
wore
didn't
it as a helmet. He looks like a great toy, and he was a great character in Beast Wars. The one thing I kept looking at, because when they were showing this off, is a Voyager class Rhinox came out very recently, and it's a great figure. And I kept looking at it thinking, I think there's a lot from that figure here. Did they take from that? Was how much of that old figure is in this one? And it looks to be quite a bit. So I have no problem with that. The previous incarnation was a really great figure. And it means that I don't have to buy this one because my previous figure is still very good. It does. It looks very good. And if you're looking for a Rhinox, then you'll be quite happy with this one.
Yeah, I think it looks like the main difference between this Rhinox and the Thrilling 30 Generations Rhinox is this one looks a little bit shinier to kind of give you the effect of the CGI from the
metal plate.
Yeah, sure. like the CGI from the cartoon, the mainframe cartoon. Mm-hmm. So it looks a little bit shinier than the one that was released. I guess it was like 6 years ago now.
Yeah,
6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah. I still have mine. It still looks good, but I know that there were a lot of people that didn't get a chance to get the Thrilling 31, and it's still a great figure. So if they're just kind of repurposing it or updating it, I guess, then I have no problem with that. I can keep mine and be happy, and I can be happy for the people getting the new one too. So moving on, they have a couple new core class figures showing up, and the core class ones I've actually been very happy with. They're small, and there's a ton of articulation, and they allow you to have a whole bunch of fun in a tiny little budget. So the first one they started off with was core class Dracodon. Yeah, so he's fun. He's a tiny little.
That's the green skeleton.
He's a green little skeleton guy. Yep, and he looks fun. He looks cool. And if you want to, have a little fun with him, he's interesting. He's a little dinosaur.
And who doesn't love little green dinosaurs?
Little green dinosaurs are great. Yeah, so he's fun. And yeah, so like I said, these are pretty small. They're $10 US. And yeah, if you're tight on budget, these guys are really articulated, and man, they're fun. What I've been trying to stick to though are the G1 figures that they've been putting out. Optimus, Megatron, they've been great, and I have no doubt that this next one is going to be phenomenal. And the next core class figure that they announced was Soundwave. And Soundwave, the pictures they've shown off of him and the video of Mark showing him off look absolutely phenomenal.
The most adorable little cassette ever.
Yeah. An ejectable laser beak that doesn't transform, mind you. I'm not too upset about that. I mean, the guys who do 3D printing are going to be all over that.
I mean, that's the easiest thing to have made a little whatever.
They'll do it. 3D printers will do it. But damn, I'm looking at this thing thinking, oh my God, it looks perfect. So yeah, yes. I'm pretty excited about that little Soundwave. A real easy buy for $10 US or $14.99 Canadian. Yeah, what a great little purchase. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. Charles, what do you think of Soundwave?
That's a really good little Soundwave figure. Yeah, I've passed on most of these core class figures. I didn't pick up the Optimus Prime or the Megatron or the Stars. Is the Starscream out? I think that's out too.
Yep.
Yep. But this Soundwave I might have to pick up.
I'll be picking it up.
I mean, that was a given. I knew that.
I was just, just saving your breath.
Okay.
Not
cool,
having to ask. I'll just tell you.
I mean, it's not like you have buy all the Soundwaves tattooed on your body.
Yeah, I had to change it so it wasn't so obvious.
But this thing looks fantastic. And like I said, the budget on these is really easy to get into. And it's not like you have to have a masterpiece kind of collection for this, and they're great. There's no firing missiles or anything like that. These are great if you wanted to get your, young kids involved, because they're all just ball joints and stuff. So these are, I can't recommend these core class figures enough for the casuals, the new fans, the old fans that have tight budgets. They're great. I'm really happy with the way these core class stuff are coming out. So yeah. Next up on the list, they announced the IDW partnership. And we talked about this before on a previous show that we're going to have some kind of shared exclusive that was going to knock our socks off. Something that was going to change the way we saw, Transformers, and something that the fandom's been asking for forever. And Charles, was this anywhere near your radar?
So this was okay. So yeah,
I don't hear any socks knocked off.
Yeah.
My socks are securely still on.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, do you want me to
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so IDW is bringing back the Shattered Glass alternate universe. So this has been a thing that started with BotCon a few years ago. I guess like maybe 10 or 15 years ago now, where, you know, for it's been a long running, I guess, kind of alternate universe put on by the fan convention, where it's, you know, it's the flipped mirror universe where the Autobots are bad, the Decepticons are good, and you flip all the colors. So it's a nice excuse for repaints of figures, and it makes it easy for, you know, it made it easy for BotCon, the convention, to put out new figures, and they just had to flip the color scheme and call it a new figure. And this one is evil Optimus Prime. This one is evil Hot Rod. This one is good Starscream. And this one is good Megatron. So that's
now give me all your money.
Exactly.
And they asked for it too.
And I mean, so going even further back, this is further based on the classic Star Trek original series episode Mirror Mirror. So that's why it's called Shattered Glass, because that's a pun on this Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror, where some of the crew of the Enterprise went to another universe where all the Star Trek characters were evil. And, you know, so famously, this is where you have the Spock with a goatee, because that's how you know he's the evil one, is because he has the goatee. And, you know, and they carried that forward in Transformers, because, you know, you have the evil Radomus Prime. The evil Radomus Prime has a goatee. So that's how you know he's evil. So yeah, that's the history of Shattered Glass. You know, it's a joke on this Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror, and then this is further a joke on, you know, evil, the flipping the Transformers. So yeah, I mean, so for me, for everyone who loves this concept, congratulations. I hope you enjoy these figures. I really hope you like them. For me, it's kind of the concept. At first, it was kind of a one-off joke. I thought, oh, that's cute, that's funny, that's nice. But the joke's gone on too long for me. It's not something I had any interest in seeing continue. But it's here. I guess it's here to stay, and you know, people are enjoying it. So and maybe this new comic series will breathe some new life into the idea. We'll see. But I do like the fact that some of my favorite artists are being thrust forward here. We've got the Guido Guidi doing the artwork on these comics, and then Casey Collar doing the variant covers that are included with the figures. So for figure collectors, you get access to these comics for included with the figure you buy. So that's cool.
We don't know who's writing these, eh? I was trying to find that out. Nobody mentioned any of it. They said it in the stream. It is Danny Lore. I actually looked them up, and they have a Twitter. So yeah, it's. Have they written comics before?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me go to their Twitter bio.
The one thing that got me about this is, as I went to look up to see if I could find out who wrote this, without actually watching the stream again, I went to all the sites that were exploding with the news about this Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest, and talking about the Shattered Glass universe thing. I was saying, okay, well, you know, who's the creatives on it? I said, I know Casey's part of it. Casey Collar is doing variant covers, and I know Guidi's doing the art, because I heard their names and I recognize them. So I said, okay, I'm just going to search these websites. And I brought up 5 of them that were all rushing to get their stories out first. So like places like IGN, they all kind of popped up real quick with their stories about the Fan Fest. And every single one of those sites never ever mentioned the creatives on the book. They all just said, we'll come with come with a special edition comic and from IDW. And I'm like, who's doing it? You know, it was mentioned in the stream. Why aren't you mentioning it in the story?
You need not concern yourself with that, Daryl.
Yeah, I was expecting IDW to have a press release, but there's nothing to be found. But
nothing.
But yeah, so the website is DannyLore.com, and so I'll just read some of the profile here. Danny Lore is a queer black writer editor raised in Harlem and currently based in the Bronx. They've worked in comic and gaming shops since the beginning of time. Most of their writing is contemporary speculative fiction with the occasional foray into science fiction. They've had their short fiction published by FIYAH, I'm not sure what that is, Podcastle, Fireside, Nightlight, EFNIKS.com, and more. Their comics works include Queen of Bad Dreams for Vault Comics, Quarter Killer for Comixology, and James Bond for Dynamite Comics in December 2019. They have short comics in Deadbeats and The Good Fight. They edited The Good Fight Anthology and The Wilds. They will be included in the young adult prose anthology A Phoenix Must Burn at Viking Books in spring 2020.
Okay.
So they sound like a relatively newcomer, sounds like.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, I'm all for, newcomers getting their shot. They're working with some very talented artists here.
So don't mess it up, says Daryl.
Yeah, basically.
And I'm kind of stealing all the alt mode news because we'll mention this in the comics news section in alt mode. But yeah,
that's okay. I'll get back to the toys on it here. They announced the Shattered Glass collection is going to contain 5 toys for the 5-issue miniseries. So each toy is going to come with a comic, and that will, take you through the story.
So now, is this toy like the price you'd expect, or because it's coming with a comic, they've hiked up the price? Do we know the?
It's a good question. I don't know what the first one came out.
It is $30. So it's a deluxe. That's $30. So they have up the price.
Same price, right?
No, the deluxes are 20, aren't they? Or they're 23 now.
I think they're 30, aren't they?
20. Well, maybe over 20? In your land, Daryl.
It might be. I think they are 30 here.
Yeah, they're like 20.
Voyagers are 30.
Okay.
Yeah, in U.S. dollars, deluxes are 20, Voyagers are 30, and leaders are 50. But the newer deluxes are 23 now. But the previous deluxes were all at 20. Like I'm looking if you look at Hasbro Pulse and look at all the previous deluxe releases, they're $20. But now the latest Kingdom releases for 2021 are $23 for deluxes.
Okay.
But the Shattered Glass Deluxe is $30 to include the comic.
I just didn't know. I was just curious.
Yeah, that's a good question because I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I never buy comics, so I don't know. Is that kind of a good deal to get a toy and then that comic at that price?
Well, it would generally be a $4 comic. So, so you're getting right in there. Plus, they showed off this new packaging, and I mean, I've got my feelings towards this. The packaging's sexy as hell.
Yeah, I saw that picture. It looks sweet.
It's pretty damn cool looking. So the first figure in this 5-figure collection is Blur. So they're taking Studio Series Blur and they are shattered glassing him. So he looks cool. I mean, I got to give props to it, but I'm like Charles, where I'm really just not a fan of shattered glass. Mainly because it's been almost inaccessible for me as a Canadian. I could have gone to BotCon every now and then, but it costs so much to go. So Charles, you went once, and it costs a significant amount to go. Right. So that only just gets you in the door. Then you got to get the toys, right? If you're going to get the toys, and the toys were astronomically more expensive than they should have been. Right.
The toys are prohibitively like if you want to get the complete package of all the convention toys, it's like upwards of $400 to $500, on top of your BotCon admission price, which
is already also very expensive.
Yeah.
So it made it very disheartening for me to even want to go, and then And then if you wanted to read the comic was part of the Collectors Club, which is also very cool, but also being in Canada, it was not very easy for me to get. So I could have, but then I'm paying extra money, and it's just, it always left me with a bad taste in my mouth.
What I'm hearing is it's
Right.
time to move. Come to the right side of the border.
Yes. I'm on the right side. You're on the left. But it just always put a bad taste in my mouth. And then, yeah. So yeah, I like, and I tweeted about this when the news first dropped, is that the concept of the Shattered Glass universe, is a very interesting and could be done very well, right? Simply changing the Autobots to being bad guys or the Decepticons to being good guys, that's old hat. That's been done a lot, and it continues to be done not just in Transformers, but I always wanted to see a story told by a good writer from the Decepticons' point of view. If you could write the Decepticons' story, making them seem like they're the heroes and the Autobots are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right? That would be that would be what I would want to see a Shattered Glass universe be, where you go through recognizable points in Transformers history. It doesn't have to be the G1 TV show. It could be parts from the comics. It could be parts from other shows or whatnot. Just parts where fans who have read or are familiar enough could recognize and say, I've seen this before, but now I'm seeing it from the other perspective. And if a good writer does it properly, you will now be on the Decepticon side. Right? And that's what I wanted to see out of Shattered Glass. And that's not what it was. So anyway, that's what I've always kind of wanted Shattered Glass to be. And personally, if they can't do that, and maybe I'm wrong and thinking that that's not what Shattered Glass should be. And maybe I'm completely off base and thinking of something completely different, but Shattered Glass for me should be something more like that. And I think if a good writer gets behind it, it should be able to be done. But we'll see. I'm sure we'll come across the books because we'll probably get access. I'm sure we'll review this 5-part miniseries, and we'll see. We never know. I'm maybe this new writer has got some chops, and we'll and then we'll see if they're any good. I don't know, but I'm willing to give them a try.
Yep. I mean, that's my attitude too. So yeah, I'm kind of not really enthusiastic about the Shattered Glass concept, but I'm looking for a good story from a writer. So if they can do a good job, let's go. I mean, and I know the art is going to be awesome because we've got Guido Guidi and Casey Collar. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So then the last thing, and I thought that they'd be done with Shattered Glass. No, they had one more thing up their sleeves, and this thing came out of left field because we all anybody who's been paying really close attention to Transformers and anything kind of transforming has seen this before. And even people on like my Facebook have sent this to me years ago and said, hey, have you seen this? And I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. I'm in the fandom. You don't have to send me this thing. I've seen it. Right. It's like, but did you see it? Does it? Like, yeah, I've seen it. But
yeah, did you open your eyelids and actually watch it? I seen it. So they had Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes announce that Transformers and Hasbro have allowed Robosen to licensed by Robosen the self-transforming. I kind of get it right. So I guess they're calling it auto-converting, programmable, voice-activated Optimus Prime, G1 Optimus Prime. Hit this point, Kay, because I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but like, because it's in the title, auto-converting, but it's like, that's what they told. Okay, I'll shut up.
You're jumping ahead.
I just...
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I know Charles is just
nothing annoying me more than hearing him say, Optimus, convert. What the frick? What? What is wrong with y'all? Transform. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'll reel it back in so you can get your stuff out.
Okay, so yeah, no, you're not wrong, and I believe every single person on the internet caught on to that. And Charles, you do have an explanation for it. I read it in the Discord when you were explaining it to somebody else. Why don't you explain it to everyone?
Okay. I mean, and I'm sure this is not something, I'm sure a lot of people have come to the same conclusion, but
yeah,
basically,
if you think about it, you get it.
Basically, Hasbro sees Transformers as a brand that they need to protect. It's they trademark the word, this is their brand. They basically make transforming robots, and they don't want Transformer to become a generic term, because if something becomes a generic term, you can't trademark it. You can't defend the trademark. And so they are afraid that if you use the word transform as a verb for your transforming figure, that if people use it often enough, it becomes generic. And, this is the same idea with Xerox, with Kleenex, with Band-Aids. These are product names that have become genericized, where people think of, it's not make a copy, it's you Xerox it. So, this makes Xerox in danger of losing their trademark or weakening their trademark. It's not a tissue that you use to wipe your face. It's a Kleenex. And
right, but they're Transformers. They're not Transform. You transform your Transformers.
So look, I'm explaining the argument. I'm not in favor of the argument. I'm not.
Okay, well, I'll tell you right now, it is a poor argument.
No, Charles, I don't think you understand. Epyk is wanting to shoot the messenger right now. So,
I think this is the reasoning behind Hasbro's insistence that they make everything convert rather than transform. And this is something that even behind the scenes. So this is not a new thing. This has been Hasbro's policy going back several years now, because we've interviewed James Roberts, the writer of More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light, on the show several times. And that comic, at this point is now, it started over, almost 10 years ago. It started in 2012. And even then, when they were doing the comics, like, you'd read the comic, and in the comic, you'd have characters say, okay, switch to alt mode or go back to robot mode. And you'd be like, why don't you just say transform? You're Transformers. Why aren't you saying transform? And I asked, and I noticed this, and I asked James Roberts about it. I was like, why don't your characters say transform in the comic? And he said, no, Hasbro told us we can't use transform as a verb in the comic because they don't want to weaken their trademark. So
absurd.
This is a policy that Hasbro has adopted, despite the fact that 30 years ago, when they had a cartoon on TV that millions of kids watched, they all said transform all the time. And 30 years later, it hasn't weakened their trademark. So, I think whatever new lawyer they hired 10 years ago for Hasbro instituted this new policy and thinks they really need to zealously protect the Transformers trademark by not saying transform.
Well, then for the hefty price tag it better be that there's you better be able to reprogram your voice commands so that you can then have
that
it.
Is apparently you are capable of doing that.
I've seen, good. Well, then I'll sit down.
One video for it where you can actually say you can program it to respond to transform.
Okay.
And so the only thing they really need to do is they need to have, if someone does that and reprograms it to respond to the transform voice command, some engineer needs to have hidden the voice clip in the programming that has Optimus Prime not just say roll out, but say transform and roll out, because there are several clips of that from the cartoon. You can have him say transform and roll out, even if it violates your trademark. But please, some engineer at Hasbro, sneak that in there.
Don't sneak in convert and roll out, though.
There is no clip of convert and roll out. You'd have to get Peter Cullen to record that because he never said that. Nobody ever says convert and roll out.
They'll just splice it together. Somewhere Peter Cullen said convert, and then they're just going to splice it together.
Be easier for him to say, I'm driving for a layup. Or layoff.
Layoff.
See, I
or a
screwed
layup.
up.
I mean, that's a little more tricky, but I'm sure it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, they announced this damn thing. It's huge. It's pretty awesome. Like we kind of said before, this product has been around for a few years now. We have, what is it? Video of it or a prototype of it from 2018.
Yeah.
So, and there's another prototype of it from 2017 where they're actually just kind of working on it still. And it's, so this thing has been, on the move and, on the working, the drawing room floor kind of thing. It's been going for a while. So obviously Hasbro just said, hey, this is a really cool thing you guys are working on. Apparently it was when it finally got finished, the company behind it, this Roboson, they were charging $500 for it. Hasbro kind of put a stop to that and said, hey, we're not going to let you charge that. But we're going to buy it and let you, sell it, licensed. But now you're going to charge $700 for it.
Yeah,
and
dumb.
You're going to give us $200.
That's dumb.
So
I said it. I don't know if they thought this was going to be super impactful and be like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Cause like you said, we've seen this for years now. So it's like, we know that they can do this, but then $700 and then to know that people were previously selling it for $5, get out.
So this is the thing, is that this previous version was, it was IP infringing. It was third party, right? So Hasbro came down on them very hard and said, we're going to destroy you because we're a massive, conglomerate, or you're going to agree to sell this as a licensed product and give us a chunk of the money. So that's probably how it went down. I'm paraphrasing a little.
But hey, it comes with a travel case.
But it does. Comes with a travel case. And I mean, for everyone who hasn't been following this project, for the last 4 years, because, most people aren't part of a podcast or that kind of thing and can't, reference old shows. This is the very coolest thing. My daughter watched the clip of Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, and she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. I said, yeah, it is. Do you have $1,000 Canadian? No, exactly.
One thing I wasn't a fan of with it is the constant transforming noise happening like over and over and over and over. Instead of it being like, I mean, I get it. He can't transform fast like they do in the cartoons and the movies and stuff, right? But just starts to get a bit fatiguing to hear it like 5 times for one transformation. But that's me.
Yeah, I mean, that does map to the show though, because they're in the cartoon. If they're ever struggling to transform, it does start playing over and over and over again until they get all the way there. Like that one in I think it was episode 3, like when after Optimus Prime was knocked, the explosion that knocked him down the hill.
Yeah, well then maybe what it is weirdly, I know there's nothing that can be done about this, but maybe it's just weird because since he's transforming so slow and the audio so fast, it just comes off goofy. But anyways, that was one of the things I noticed. But then I do think it's really neat, how it is cool and stuff, but $700 cools, I don't know about that.
I want to say there were other people out there, and I was reading some Facebook posts because there's a lot of them right now. And a lot of people were saying, well, why was Unicron, why did we have to, kickstart or, for Unicron, and why did that take so long? And it's less. Why did we have to do that? And we have to pay $700 and it's more for this, and we can just buy it. Why didn't we just have to buy Unicron? Like, we just explained it, but it's because this was already made. This is Roboson, and it's licensed by Hasbro. Had to make Unicron, right? It's a big difference. If anyone out there that's listening is actually confused by the whole, why is this thing more expensive, but we can buy it, and Unicron is less, but we had to, kickstart it. That's the reason, another company did all the heavy lifting, and then Hasbro's just going to kind of get paid on every single one.
I do love that it's Peter Cullen's voice.
Yeah, for sure. And Hasbro would have helped with that, right?
Yep.
Because Peter Cullen and his, his agent and stuff like that is not going to allow Peter Cullen's voice to be associated with a IP infringing figure, right?
Totally.
But now that it's licensed, I can get you Peter Cullen. I can get you the real guy. Okay, well, that's very cool. Let's do that.
I'll be impressed when they make other figures.
I wonder if he even gets like royalties from this, because it sounds like they just took a clip from the old cartoon. So I wonder if he, like, whatever the contract is for when he did that voice work, he still gets a royalty for that.
I would hope so.
Same.
Yeah.
But that's another good, you raised a good point, Epyk, about, there is, I don't know whether anybody kind of spotted it on the box for this figure, but this Optimus Prime figure is figure 0001. That's a lot of places to put more figures.
Well, I mean, back when we were discussing this prototype back in the day, there were like several other designs. There was a Hound that was a Jeep. There was there's a construction vehicle that I think it was looked pretty much like a G1 Scrapper. Right. I mean, so there were other designs. So I'm sure they've got the technology to do other characters if they want to. If this one is successful, I can see that happening.
Yeah. Although I'm thinking about it now, maybe that the number on the front of it may just be a serial number. I wonder if they're numbered. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
It didn't mention anything about them being numbered, but that could be the numbering. The other thing, and I did want to mention, these did sell out day one, which is insane, at $700 a piece. So the typical thing is starting to happen. Don't be a fool. These are starting to show up now on eBay for astronomical amounts of money. I've seen one for $7,000. I've seen one for $10,000. It's ridiculous.
Just wait.
Don't do that, people.
Yeah, don't.
Just wait. They'll release more. They will release more. They'll make more.
And we haven't actually really talked about overall how he looks or whatever, but I'm actually really impressed, since it is self-transforming. Okay.
Yep.
That he does look really good, but the only thing that catches my eye that I can't stop staring at is his Adidas flip-flop shoes. I just feel like he's wearing Optimus. He's got himself some flip-flops going on, or sandals. I mean, he's got sandals going on, and it's just like I can't stop staring at him. But everything else looks great, Yes, on his way to Costco.
He looks good. Rubber tires and everything. He looks pretty damn cool. Yeah, I wish I was in the place, to get one of these, but I mean, I don't know what I'd do with it. It's not like I'm going to be driving it around the house. It'd sit on a shelf. I'd have to take the batteries out, right? Because they'd end up going bad. So it just end up being a figure on the shelf, like anything else. Anywho, that was, the biggest thing that came out of the Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest. That's pretty cool. Nobody really had any idea that Hasbro was going to do that. Like I said, even though we'd known about this thing for a few years, that them actually licensing it and bringing it out and, that kind of thing, that still kind of stole the show. So with that, I think we will end. If anybody else wants to talk to us and mention anything and kind of give us a comment on what they thought about Hasbro Pulse's Fan Fest, let us know. Did they completely screw something up? Was something mistransformed? I don't know. I didn't see anything, but they did have one of the designers there to kind of hold everything. You'd think he would know how to do it, but he was stoner Jimmy Fallon, so who knows? But let us know what you thought of the Fan Fest, because I thought they did okay for where we're at in the history of the world here. So yeah.
Okay. In the span of human history, Hasbro Fan Fest was pretty okay.
It's all right. It was all right.
It's passable. It was passable.
One thing before we move on to trips to the store, I did want to mention at the very end they had this fan reaction panel where they had so it was a little bit, I mean, first of all, they had this Brady Bunch 9, I guess, prominent fans, but they didn't let them say anything. Like they all just like they're completely muted. They just get to wave. And then you have Seth Macy, who is, he's a paid contributor from IGN. So it's I'm sure he's probably a fan of Transformers. He loves Transformers, but he's clearly like a paid guy from IGN and IGN is the site that they basically gave this exclusive to. So, you get his reaction, which, okay, that's fine, but let the 9 real fans up there say something, or at least wave hi, or say like, or even mention like, hey, these are all guys from fan sites. We'll give you the links to their sites, on our page or something. I mean, I don't know, but I saw, you had Brian Kilby from Radio Free Cybertron. You had Ant from TF Info. You had Colin from TFCon, which I was very surprised given their, embracing of third party at TFCon. I
was very surprised at that.
I didn't. Did you recognize anyone else on there, Daryl? I wasn't sure who else was there.
No, I didn't really look that hard, but and I don't really remember. But yeah, no, it's I was shocked that Colin was there. So
I feel like they could have integrated fans a little bit better into the Fan Fest. I guess it seemed, it was like here's our fans. You'll just show people waving, and that it's like that that episode of The Office where they get to be part of the Dunder Mifflin commercial, and they just get to wave at the end, and that's it. So I guess that's fine. All right. So any final thoughts on Hasbro Fan Fest, or we can move on to trips to the store?
We can move along.
So move it on.
All right. So yeah. So let's get into trips to the store. All right. So trips to the store. This is where we show off all the cool Transformer stuff we got this week. We do this as a video so you can see everything we got in beautiful high definition. But we'll keep the audio right here so you can listen as we describe everything we got in loving detail. So without further ado, trips to the store.
The Transmissions podcast will return after these messages.
All right, let's show off the stuff we got. I'm going to go first. All right.
Hey, you got your picture hanging up.
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I'm getting some more flair, getting more pieces of flair for the empty background here.
It's only been 7 years. They're crooked
you.
Still.
You're just gonna have to live with it, Daryl. My house is
Impossible.
crooked. I'm tilted.
In the center.
All right, comics. I got new comics. Transformers 28. This is the continuing War World. And Beast Wars #3. So we reviewed both of these comics recently on previous episodes of Transmissions. I believe it was the last 2 weeks. So go back and listen to Transmissions Alt Mode, and you can hear our thoughts on these comics. That's all I got this week. I showed off Unicron last week.
Where is it?
Nothing. He's over there.
It's his footstool.
I thought you.
He's hanging out.
Oh, you do have a
He's hanging
spot.
out.
You do have a spot.
There
Okay.
he is.
Hey. Okay.
There he is. I don't know if I'll ever transform him back to planet mode. I gotta schedule some time to do that. All right, Daryl, we're gonna go to you.
All right. Well, I do have a comic. This is Beast Wars number 3, but I did manage to get the RI cover. This is the
Nice.
Josh Perez cover, and it's a really fancy cover. It's nice. It's very colorful. We talked about it last week, so my opinions on the book, but this cover is it's beautiful. So I'm very happy with it, and I'm happy that I was able to get the RI. But very fancy, very nice cover from Josh Perez. And I'm just going to pull out an old figure of mine, just because I don't have anything new. We're under lockdown right now, like a strict lockdown. So nothing but like food sources and medicine sources are open right now. It's they came down hard on us right now. So this is my Transformers animated Blur. This is still sealed, and it is signed by John Machida Jr. So
Nice.
yeah,
Cool.
super glary. But so we were talking about Blur.
I'm going to say blurry.
Should have been a comedian. But yeah. So this is a really cool figure. I'm really happy with the fact that I still have this. And the fact that John Machida Jr. did voice Blur in the original cartoon as well, the G1 cartoon. So yeah, so it's like a real G1 Blur that's signed by the guy. It's kind of like that, right? But yeah, anyway, that's all I've got this week. Just a little old, blast from the past.
All right, Epyk, we're going to finish up with you.
All right. Well, continuing on with the Kingdom line that I said I wasn't going to get. I got myself Paleotrex. He's pretty nifty.
Cool.
Then, excited about this, since now I'm watching the show. Okay, it's kind of fun, all right, because I didn't recognize any Beast War characters ever. They just looked absurd, but now it's fun when I see, like, the comics and everything. I'm like, oh, I can, like, name these guys. So I was pretty excited when I saw Cheetor in the store.
Nice.
Know him very well now. So, yeah, finally getting excited about these guys I'm buying because they're sweet toys that I couldn't resist, but now they actually are starting to come to life, and I get them. Yeah. That's all I have. It's just those two things. So.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it all you have?
Not a giant, no giant you.
Okay. Yes, I did get the Unicron, the HasLab Unicron, and all I would have to show is a huge box because I haven't opened him. I haven't done anything. He's actually down in the basement because we're doing stuff that was making the house super dusty, some renovation stuff that was getting everywhere. So I refuse to open him until that's done so that I don't have to dust that thing. So I do have Unicron. I didn't haul the box up from downstairs, but I do have him. When I finally open him is probably when I'll show him off. So I don't just have a box to just show. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, we're happy for you.
I would have done just the box, but people give me flack for that. So.
Yeah, I will say, I thought about it. Okay, I thought about bringing it up, and then I'm like, oh.
It's a heavy box, too.
Yeah. So, okay, yes, I'm lazy. I didn't bring it up here. I'll accept it. Give me a hard time.
I showed off the box.
You don't even have it yet,
Y'all
Daryl.
are better than me.
It's not even in my house yet, so I had to show off the box.
All right.
Well, good job. We're happy for you. We can't wait to see it.
Thanks. Me either.
All right. That's it for this week's Trips to the Store.
We now return to the Transmissions podcast.
All right, we're back from our trips to the store, and we're going to finish up the show here. So we did get a voicemail from our good friend John 4X11Good, but this show is running long this week, so we apologize. We will respond to your voicemail next week, but it is an interesting topic. It's basically HasLab Unicron's instructions, the quality of the instructions for HasLab Unicron, and John has comments on that. I also have similar comments, so we'll talk about that next week. But thank you, John, for sending your voicemail in. We do appreciate it. And again, since we are at the end of the show, we do our Masterpiece Donatreon shout outs, and that is to John 4X11Good and Dinobot Maximize. So thank you guys for continuing to support the show at such a high level. And we did mention in Trips to the Store that we are still offering merchandise from our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And there is a sale going on for 35% off at TeePublic. I believe it's every week in April. I think they're doing a sale. So check that out. Transmissionspodcast.com/shop. Anything you buy from TeePublic through that link will help us out. Epyk, thanks again for joining us, and tell everyone where they can find your stuff online.
Yeah, so head on over to epyksuicide.com. That's EPYK suicide.com, and you will find all my links there.
All right, and that will do it for this episode of Transmissions. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Amazing.
Da, 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 da.
Wink.
Da, 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 da. Now, the Transmissions podcast will be back in a moment after these messages. Something. We'll put the audio in post. It'll be all right.
Probably leave what you did. Is Mike going to be upset at how long this episode is?
Well, Mike's not editing. He's teaching a class for the next few weeks, so we've got to edit our own. So I'm upsetting myself because I got to edit this.
Okay.
Or no,
Okay.
actually, I think Jeremy's doing it. Should I make Jeremy do the toy show even though he's sick this week?
Yes. How else will he listen to it?
Thanks a lot, Charles. I appreciate it.
We now return to the Transmissions podcast.